Hey guys, and welcome back to Agrarian Skies. Since last time I didn't do that much yet, because I noticed I need to show things. So this thing is running just fine. I added a second ender generator just to be on the safe side. It's now enough to actually keep my hardened energy cell filled. Technically it's too much, but it's okay. I get enough ender pearls from my mob trap. And this thing is comfortably filling up. I now actually have the system kind of disabled, so this sand pulverizer isn't doing anything anymore. I set it to wait for a redstone signal, so this pulverizer will only act if there's a redstone signal. I also changed the wiring a little bit, so I have the top of these devices accessible. And that's actually the reason I started recording now, because I need to build some things. And the first thing I wanted to build is a few fluid ducts. These are for transporting liquids, and a few item ducts, which are for transporting items. And each of those things exist as you can see, as an opaque version and also as a transparent version. I don't really like the transparent versions too much, and the trouble is that they cause lag because they are the transparent versions, obviously, they render the items inside, and depending on how many items I end up pushing through the system, that can be a lot of entities that need to be rendered. Now, the reason I set up that system, changed that system, we'll get to that in just a second. First things first, I need to go into F7 mode, I think. I should be in F7 mode, let me just make sure. I am indeed, okay. Just because you can't distinguish between F7 mode being active and everything being lit up, and F7 mode being not active. Now 6 fluid ducts should be enough. This is another one of those aqueous accumulator setups. And the thing I'm doing is I'm just piping water from the accumulator directly into this barrel. That will make sense later on. I will change the sifting setup, the sieving setup, because the sifter is something else, I know. But I will change the sieving setup to go through sand. And if I go through sand, let me just... Again, I hope my keyboard's not too loud, but... see what we can do with sand. Wow, that's terrible pronunciation, by the way. Lots of things. The only relevant thing is this: the ex nihilo sieve. As a German, when we learn Latin, we're taught that Latin is pronounced in a German way. So I will pronounce it ex nihilo. Whereas if you're from an English-speaking country, you're taught to pronounce Latin as though it were English. And actually I wanted to turn off the minimap, but I forgot. Well, we have 7 ender pearls again, that's fine. I keep having to come by here and do stuff to make sure that chest doesn't overflow. And that's another problem that will be solved with the item ducts eventually. But I don't think I'll do that quite yet. I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, I need to go through sand because I actually wanted to show you. There we go. Now I get all these crushed ores, which again, just like the pulverized ores and such, they work just fine. Not interested in the limestone either. The Swiss quartz, I need tons of that, but not yet. That will be sort of my end game solution to everything, will be applied energistics, and I need a buttload of Certus quartz for that. But I won't worry about that quite yet. I don't know what this fruit does. I think it just grows maybe a different kind of cactus or some sort of desert plant. I don't know. Anyway, cocoa beans not relevant. The yellorium is nice to just stack up on, because when I start going into the big generators, the big reactors, I will need quite a bit of it to get going. But the one I'm really looking for is ancient spores, which have a drop chance of 1%. And that thing is making noises. Actually, I got that one really lousy quest reward. but I think that might almost be worth using. I don't know quite how those things work. Ouch. So the Invar spikes deal damage to me as well, as you can see. Okay, now they muffle any sound, which includes the opening of chests. See? You can still hear it, but only just. I'm not sure if you can hear it at all. It should be down to, I think, about 90%, by about 90%, so to about 10%. Anyway. As we can see, this thing here is spitting out sand, and the sand is what I actually want to go through here. I don't mind if the system backs up for the moment, that's perfectly fine. Thing is, well, I don't need, but I want this to be fully cleared, so I want this to be empty, so I can move all the pulverized stuff out, because this is only one chest. It's not got enough space in it to support the drops from both dust and sand. But what I will do when that is done is I'll actually kind of set this up now. So I don't want a connection here. And I want all of these to be output connections. Did I turn anything with that one silly little? I did. There we go. That should all be fine now. And now, for example, if I want to output this sand to elsewhere, such as if I want to put the sand directly into the autonomous activator, and let me just set it to first slot only, then I can now take the top side and say, okay, the top side's output as well. Now, by itself, it can't output into item ducts because item ducts need to be powered. So I think if not sure if this will work, it might. Yes, it does. And that was Skype, I'm sorry about that. And now it should be able to pull out stuff from the top. Let me see if it works. These things can be a little weird. Okay, so that doesn't quite work, and I don't quite know why. Because it should be putting things... should be outputting just fine. Does it not like the fact that he has that? Does he want this? Let me make sure this is the correct side. Yes, it is. Okay. So it's powered. As you can see, the color is slightly different. I'm troubleshooting this now, which I really probably shouldn't do. So is it because he has multiple outputs and he tries to go for that one first? Let's disable this. Doesn't seem to help, even though he should now be pulling out everything. Putting it in here. Oh wait, I know the problem. Okay. He's trying to put it in here, and that would work, except this doesn't actually have an input on the top. So I need to change the top to be an input, I think. Is that the top now? Yes, it is. As you can see, he's now pulling stuff from this, and putting them into here directly, and I don't want any of that. So what I'll do now is I'll disable this again. Ta-da! And I'll put a lever here and here as well, allowing me to toggle. Actually, no. If I do it like this, I toggle more than one at a time. I'll get more blocks, I guess. Oh yeah, that's fine. The lever isn't gone; it just got sucked up into here. And I can also use the crescent hammer to turn chests, which is really annoying to me because I keep trying to open chests with it. So that's what I'll do when I'm done with this. I will actually, the way I want it to be is output to there. That's fine. The top, I don't currently want anything, and this will be like this again. Okay. So I'm now at the sort of same setup I usually have, which means he's trying to put the sand in here. This one's full, so that won't work. And if I set the top to be an output again, he will output to the top, but I only want you can go in here as well. But when I do that, I only want the sand to be output to the top, so I'll make the top side red as well. And the dust will still go in here. The sand will then end up in here. And you can go back to round robin item use. This will take a while to go through all this stuff. I can help it along by basically right-clicking as well. And I will only do sand until I have one of those ancient spores. So I guess what I'll do now is I'll wait until I get that. So this will be a long wait for me, but only a quick cut for you. I'll see you in a bit. Actually, quick update. Nothing much has changed. I'm still going through dust, but I actually took a stack out of it because I currently have this barrel which is constantly filled with water, which makes it very convenient. Because I need for... Now that sounded more desperate than it was meant to. For the smeltery, I need grout to make these seared stones, which I then turn into seared bricks. And in order to make those, I need clay. And clay I get by putting dust in a barrel full of water. So what I do now is I just, again, I maintain firm pressure on my right mouse button. I just keep clicking, basically. And the barrel will automatically get filled with water, so I don't need to wait for rain. And I automatically get a bunch of clay. And I'll just keep doing this, and again, I'll see you in a bit. And once again, I'm not actually done with the sieving yet. But I want to make 8 of those, some of this, and I have a bunch of wood saved up. From which I think those I want to turn mostly into chests. 8. And by the way, I'll make one of those iron chests, which I turn into one of those gold chests. And then I'll go full-blown decadence and make a diamond chest. Ta-da! Very nice, these things. Okay, I will need that. And make 2 more chests. That should be fine, and then I think roughly like this, I make better barrels. Out of the Jabba mod, which is actually the abbreviation for just another better barrels attempt. And the reason I want those is, firstly, that trash can go to my inventory, thank you. Inventory, actually. I mispronounce it all the time, though. Now, I want an item duct like this, and then I want it running... Yes, you should not do that. You should do that. And I want it running like that. So how many regular drops do I really get? Bone, gunpowder, rotten flesh. Let's start with those. No, I want that. Stop. Okay. Because of the vacuum hopper, stuff that gets dropped kind of floats about a little bit. I'll put 2 up here, and all of these should be inputs. That's correct. This I'm just doing the item sorting basically. I will install a pneumatic servo here, which will enable me with an empty hand to click that, and tell it to ignore redstone. This means he'll constantly suck items out of here. And he'll try to put them where he can. I need 2 2 more of those, and 2 more of those, and 1 right here, and the trash can right here. Will that work? I'm not sure if I can input to the trash can from below. We'll have to see about that. And this one needs a pneumatic servo as well, and I need to tell it to be a whitelist. So that means currently there's nothing whitelisted. It means this thing here will only take stuff into the trash can if it's whitelisted, which currently nothing is whitelisted, so it shouldn't put anything in there, hopefully. And all the leftovers go in here. Now the thing is, I definitely don't need a barrel for chain helmets. I might want a barrel for Enderman heads, why not indeed? And you can just be resupplied to the system. So the way this should work is it should go through this, and basically when it comes to a barrel, it checks if it can put anything into the barrel. And the barrel only accepts one type of item, but a lot of it. I think even unupgraded, they take 64 stacks of any item. So I can put 64 stacks of arrows in here, 64 stacks of zombie meat and all that. Now I will lock these barrels so they don't accept anything else. I'm not sure if I want a barrel for each of the type of moped. That might be a little overkill. Now all the bows I get, I want to whitelist the bows. And he's supposed to ignore metadata and no, he's okay to use the OR dictionary. I don't think that matters for these. Now he's ignoring NBT and ignoring metadata, which means that any bow will be put into that trash can. I'll show you that quickly with this bow. Now this bow here is obviously identical. Actually, let me just to illustrate this further. Let's say we want to use NBT and use metadata. Now these bows here are identical because this is the one I used to set that whitelist. So if I put this bow in here, assuming input into the trash can from below is possible, he should be just trash canning it. So that bow will now be gone. I don't think it's in here anymore. It's definitely not in the piping anywhere. So that's gone. Now if I take the other bow, that one doesn't fill the criteria. It's not identical to this one. So that should end up down here once it's processed. Unless I missed a point there. Okay. Strange things have happened. Now usually he... What? No, okay, there it is. I think. Yeah. It took a while because I think he kind of tries each of these barrels one by one. Or it might have just been a little lag. I don't know. Anyway. Now if I set it to ignore... No, I need an empty hand to set these. If I set it to ignore the NBT and ignore the metadata, that means he doesn't care if it's an enchanted bow, for example. He'll take any bow, and he doesn't care how damaged it is either. Any bow at all that drops will now get trash canned, which is good because I don't want any of those silly little bows. They just clutter up stuff. Now this looks pretty good. Hey, wow, 22 ender pearls already. This barrel is locked. That means nothing gets put into it except for the item that's already in it. Now that's true for all barrels, but even if I empty this one out completely, you see it now says 0 bones, it remembers that it is meant to be for bones, and nothing except for bones will be put in it. If I would unlock this, now the next item that passes through, and would usually go beyond this point, recognizes an empty barrel and will get put into there. So if I lock it, nothing gets put in here, because it's an empty barrel, so it says, oh, there's nothing supposed to be in here. So it doesn't accept anything until I manually put an item in, thereby making it a barrel for that item type, essentially. So I'm just keeping that as a backup in case I notice anything else, and that bow did not get destroyed. I think, is that the same one? It sure is. I think I know why. Okay, I will tell this one now to wait for a redstone signal, so it's disabled, and I'm hoping I'm not making this one too long. I should be fine. I think the problem is that the chest here and the trash can up here, they're at the same distance away from the original from the entry point, basically. So it goes here, and basically the bow might decide to go up down here or up there. You can actually check that. Yeah, let's check that. No, wait, I need the bow. If I have two, I can check. I just need to move the trash can over, and I think this here would be a good location for the trash can. Now... there we go. Trash can goes right here. This one's currently not sucking anything in, so I don't run the risk of accidentally destroying anything. I need a pneumatic servo here. And I want you to be a whitelist. Only take bows and use metadata and NBT as well. Don't want you in here. And now this one I can destroy and replace, because I don't need that pneumatic servo in this location. I only need them in locations where I need advanced control over the direction of items, basically. And now you can go back to ignoring your redstone signal, so just sucking everything up all the time. And I think that's the mob system kind of taken care of. Not fully, of course, but I do have to spend much less time paying attention to this now. It should run fairly smoothly for a long time, and there's other upgrades I can put on those barrels. I need some additional items for that. I'll get into the specifics of that at a later stage. But suffice it to say, I will eventually make these so they can take twice as many items as they can now. So 8,192, I think. Currently they are sitting on almost 4,000 items when they're full. And I can then set it so that this one, for example, it will accept 128 stacks of arrows. And if there's another arrow coming in, it says, okay, I'll take that, and just destroys it. So that would be a void upgrade, which means any items that are added of the correct type, but that are in excess of the maximum potential of the barrel, I guess, they just get destroyed. And that means even if this barrel, for example, is full of gunpowder, I won't suddenly start getting the gunpowder in here. And I should probably set something up for leather caps as well, because I don't want to keep that stuff. But for now I'll keep it as it is and see how it goes. So, yeah. I think this has been an episode. Still waiting on the activator, but it's almost done. I think at the beginning of next episode I will have the ancient spores all ready, and I'll see you then. Bye bye!